We, as Bengalis, we are a warrior tribe. But look at how we portray ourselves. Look at how we portray ourselves. We portray ourselves like a clerk tribe. Vishwaharati had a jiu-jitsu department back in the days. And as like 1913, around that time, and since Indian women used to wear saris, that's why jiu-jitsu, the gentle art of jiu-jitsu. If you go to Calcutta Judo Club even today, on this date, you would find the picture of Jigoro Kano, you'd find the picture of Morei Ueshiba, and you'd find the picture of Rabindranath Tagore.
Do you believe that propagation of using martial arts in cinema really took an uptick with Akshay Kumar becoming so visibly enamored by using martial arts sequences in his films initially?
It's great that we have certain superstars like Akshay Kumar, Vidyut Jammwal, who are kind of the poster boys of martial arts for people. And it's great that we speak a lot about them and we take a lot from them as far as their discipline is concerned. But we should also realize that we do not want to be them. For me, cinema is like the goddess Durga.
Interesting.
So, all the art forms, the best of art forms, are giving their best weapons to this particular art form, which is cinema. Netaji Subhash Chandra Bose, Chhatrapati Shivaji Maharaj, great artists too, not just fighters, great artists. Any group of people who worship a goddess like Ma Kali or who believe in the Kali sect and stuff like that, they have seen violence. They have experienced violence. They have understood the different layers of violence and peace. If you understand violence, you have to understand peace because they go hand in hand, honestly speaking. That's why during the War of Independence, most number of extremists were from Bengal and Punjab. Think about it. But now look at us.
Hello and welcome to NMN Pods. Today we have with us a very special guest, someone you could definitely call a master. He is a martial arts maestro, a virtuoso of music and a visionary filmmaker. A little confused, are we? You're thinking, how can someone be all three at once? I thought so as well, and then I watched magic unfold. So why wait? Without further ado, let's bring forth the magic and introduce to you Praggo Dotto. So when I talk to you, the first word that comes to my mind is maverick. Maverick is the word that comes to my mind. So many disciplines coming together at one place. Tell us, Prago, where did it all begin?
Honestly, uh, it's impossible to actually express yourself through one discipline.
Okay.
Say, if you want to basically speak about all the things that you experience in your life, you have to use different disciplines in order to express yourself. So it all began when I was a child. I could understand that there are certain things which are expressed better through, say, a poem or a song. And there are certain things which are expressed better, say, through a dance performance or maybe through other physical activities. Can be theater, can be anything, honestly speaking. And that's exactly that point of time when I realized that I have to learn and understand how these crafts have evolved. So, somewhere down the line, when I was a child, I developed a great sense of friendship with different disciplines, and they became like my best friends.
So, as far as this friendship goes,
Hmm.
when you had to propagate it, when you had to learn the basics, as they say, the grammar
Hmm.
of these disciplines, what was the first discipline that you chose?
I did not choose. It's more like it just happened.
Okay.
So it's like this that uh, the family that I come from, uh, it's a very artistically inclined family. So music, fine arts, theater, all these kind of things happening, right? So the first thing that really attracted me was fine arts. So I had this passion to, like sketch and not sketch things as I see it. In fact, my mom really encouraged me to sketch things not as I see it, like, but what I feel about them. It's
Right.
like, say, if I were to make a sketch of yours, then I would not really make the lifelike sketch, but maybe I would speak to you for half an hour and try to understand what are the humors that make you, and then create something out of that. So, somewhere down the line, as a child, I think I was already into that practice of engaging myself so that I can understand what more is there to what we see. So things are not literal, like what goes beyond and what lies within, that was more important for me. So that was the first thing that I got into. And while sketching, I had this, like this, what to say, this passion, this love, actually, the love for movement. Any kind of movement used to attract me. So my love for movement actually found its correct skill set in the form of martial arts. Basically, you have to let the situation, let the chronotope decide, as in the situation, the weightage of the situation, the characters present in the situation, everything, let that decide what you're going to do. So somewhere down the line, you have to let go. Same with music. Say, when we are learning anything, like any set of notes that we learn, and when we apply them, it's a different thing altogether. How am I expressing it? The same set of notes in Indian classical music or in Western classical music, the same set of notes will carry different emotions, just merely by changing the way we are expressing ourselves. It will become the same set of notes I can use to make you feel happy, same set of notes I can use to make you feel sad. It's not rocket science. It's just how I'm changing the way I'm expressing myself. In cinema, for example, in cinema, what's most interesting is that for me, cinema is like the goddess Durga.
Interesting.
So, all the art forms, the best of art forms, are giving their best weapons to this particular art form, which is cinema, which is filmmaking. Hence, there's a lot of responsibility associated with it. So, whenever I have approached any kind of experimentation or any kind of projects which are related to the cinematic experience, for me at least, it has been not only just letting go, but also understanding where I should let go. This is the key. Where should I let go? Indian classical music attracts so many people because it's so improvisory in nature. Look at jazz. I mean, it attracts so many people because it's that sense
Totally
of
improvisory.
improvisation.
Yeah.
Now, let me tell you, even Western classical music is very much improvised in nature. You think it's written down over there, that's why it's not improvised? That's wrong. Whoever says that Western classical music you're not improvising, you're just lying. Because how I'm interpreting those notes is completely up to me. I will play the same piece as you. We play both the pieces, yet our expressions will be different. It is bound to be different. And that is the beauty of art. In cinema, also, let's take the same subjects, make a short. In fact, let's take the same script for that matter, make a shot. You see, the way you take the shots and the way I take the shots will be different because you will want to express it in your own way. You will let go at a point which might not be the point that I let go. And also, the other thing is that this entire understanding of coming to terms with flowing with the art, it's very important.
The term that I was constantly looking for or thinking of in my mind as you were giving us this nicely vivid description was the flow
Yes,
state of mind. It's, I
yes,
think, which is it's a concept that's common to all these platforms.
yes.
But it brings me to a very interesting point. You use the word term expression very strongly for all three art forms. My question to you is that when it comes to music, we understand how you express yourself through music. When it comes to films and cinema, we understand how expression works there. But when it comes to martial arts, how does one express themselves through martial arts?
Let's understand the flow and how the flow affects our inner journey.
Okay.
If you ask a chess player that is it enough to just play chess every day, to be the best chess player in the world, he'll tell you, no, I have to go and do swimming. I have to go and do cycling. I have to go and do my regular workout. Why is he saying that? Why is that important for him to express himself as a chess player? Think about it. Think about it very deeply. This is a very important point over here. Martial arts is not outside, it's inside. What we are doing outside is connecting the inner being with our outer being. So when you're moving, say any kind of movement, that movement is actually an embodiment of the fact that you're alive. Think about this. You know you're alive, right? How do you know
Absolutely.
you're alive? How?
I'm breathing, I'm talking.
Exactly. First, you're breathing. Have, like, tell me, do you breathe consciously every day?
No,
You don't, right?
no.
The day you start doing martial arts very seriously, you will breathe consciously every moment, because you know that this is the reason, or this is what actually keeps you alive. And herein starts your inner journey, which needs an outlet of expression to connect with what lies within. So the outside, the movements that you see, they're merely a bridge. They're merely a bridge of what is within. The power within can only be realized when you know your external capabilities also. Every time when I say I express through martial arts, I'm trying to express through martial arts. This expression is not something that is flowery fists and embroidery kicks. No. This expression has got three different layers of meaning. One is your personal expression, personal. The second one is your connect with some superpower. So we can call it like a providential kind of an expression, right? And the third and most importantly is your social expression. What is your stance? You might say, I'm apolitical. Great. But you will have a stance as a human being.
Oof, heavy stuff. Taking from there and coming down to your adventures as an action director,
Yeah.
I believe that this is one place where I think the question of expression really comes in.
Hmm.
Uh, we've watched a lot of films, be it in Hollywood, Bollywood, Europe. My question to you is that as an action director, from the perspective of an action director, when you watch films of South India,
Hmm.
do you believe that their basis in martial arts is not as stringent, perhaps, as maybe films from China at one point? Do you
Okay.
believe martial arts is not that much of a template for Bollywood films or South films or films across anywhere in India? Or do you believe it's just a matter of perspective that there are films that are working specifically on martial
Mhm.
arts based styles as an action director? Do you believe that your brethren of action directors, do they base their stylistics in martial arts, or is it more expression oriented?
Honestly speaking, whenever we approach cinema, we should approach it from the perspective of the characters present in that particular film.
Fair enough.
Okay. Now, every character will not move like every other character. Let's understand this. So, someone who is very much into this art of movement and the art of building a character, the style in which you move is also part of your character. Not that every hero should kick in the same way and every hero should punch in the same way. Now, that is where I have a strong objection. Because when you look at a person, when that person is proposing to a woman, when that person is proposing to his loved one, then the way he is proposing is different from another person, right?
Right.
The way he's eating is different. The kind of clothes he's wearing is different. But when it comes to the fight, they're almost all fighting in the same way. Why? Why? That should not be. And this is exactly wherein comes the use of your mind as a choreographer. So there are certain places or certain facets in the commercial industry where everyone will do a spin kick. But why? And why is it that your spin kick and my spin kick should look the same? Why? My spin kick should look different from your spin kick. My way of punching should be different from your punching. Now, these are things which we have to actually get there. Like every person has a different style. You spoke of all these golden harvest films, Chinese films.
Mhm.
If you remember over there were different masters. Someone was a praying mantis master, someone was a tiger master, so different styles,
Yeah.
different people, different styles,
Yeah.
something good. If we look at modern cinema, there is an artistic or a cinematic license that is being used where like this person is going to kick and this guy is going to fly away, fly away, fly away, fly away. Now let me tell you something that is not impossible. Like I can just push you like this and you sit down on your chair and from here to there, and I just push you like this. So if I actually did that, then you move back. It's not completely not possible. No,
So you're saying the physics is possible.
it's possible means it's absolutely possible, but it's not possible in that way where this guy goes and bounces off the
Flies
wall
off
and then
the.
it's like. So I'm saying that focused energy, even this much, you see, this much is enough to actually put somebody back by quite some distance. And by quite some distance I mean 4 to 5 feet. This much. That's it. 4 to 5 feet gone. Now, speaking of the films of Indonesia, the films of Thailand, the films of Japan, the films of Korea, for that matter, you see all the action heroes over there. If you even look at if you look at films like Raid, over there they're moving according to their character. They're using uh, indigenous martial forms. They're using silat over there. It's very much evident that they're using silat. Or even if you look at the John Wick franchise, every
Mhm.
character has a different way of fighting. Every character has a different way of fighting.
Right.
So John Wick uses a lot of Brazilian jiu-jitsu. He uses a lot of like gun work, and he's more of the grappler guy. Lesser strikes, but certain very interesting strikes. Then you have got these other people who are using other martial arts, right? So my point is that we have to reach to a level where we realize why that character is fighting like this. Even in India, there have been films which have been so realistic, where the person has fought the way such a person would fight of a sword.
But
The Green Destiny, right? So
do
yeah.
you find that culture here in Indian cinema? Do you find that culture where people are willing to train in that martial arts form
Well,
to that extent?
e-
Because John Wick, as you said,
yes, correct.
largely Keanu Reeves has trained in these martial arts
Yes,
forms.
yes, yes.
And though he uses stunt doubles in certain sequences, he actually does most of the action himself. Do you that only happens because he's had the time, the patience, the focus,
Hmm.
the money
Yes,
to actually
very
get
right,
get
very
himself
right,
trained?
very right.
So do you believe that Indian cinema has reached that scape or will reach that scape anytime in the
I
future?
believe it will reach that scape. I know it hasn't, but I do see a lot of interesting people trying to do interesting work and putting in a lot of effort. And that's very, very important. So, like, honestly speaking, the recent film that I'm working on, which is Debi Chodhrani,
Mhm.
over there, all the actors are actually training in different styles of martial arts because each of their characters have a different way of movement, like I said.
Right.
So they have actually taken out time and I see them practicing. So what happens is that gives me a lot of hope that, okay, maybe not today, but slowly and steadily we will reach there. And there will be a time when our films will also have characters training for 6 7 months before getting into that action space, rather than training for just 6 7 days and getting into that action space.
Correct. Do you believe that propagation of using martial arts in cinema really took an uptick with Akshay Kumar becoming so visibly uh, enamored by using martial arts sequences in his films initially?
Honestly speaking, I'll tell this, I'll be very candid about this. If you love martial arts, then, and if you say things like, I watched a Bruce Lee film, I fell in love with the character of Bruce Lee, I wanted to be like him, that's why I took up martial arts, you would realize after a few years that's going to burst. No one is going to be like anyone. You will be yourself. So you can be the best version of yourself. Don't try to be like anyone. That's the first thing. That's the first thing that martial arts teaches you. So for me, it's great that we have certain superstars like Akshay Kumar, Vidyut Jammwal, who are kind of the poster boys of martial arts for people. And it's great that we speak a lot about them and we take a lot from them as far as their discipline is concerned. But we should also realize that we do not want to be them. We should not be them. We have to be ourselves. This is where, I see a very fine problem over here. The problem is very simple. I look up to somebody, but I do not want to be his copy. I have to bring to the table something that is me.
Correct.
And that's exactly what martial arts will ultimately teach you. But herein comes the next problem. I personally feel that the way martial arts knowledge is imparted around the world, there is a kind of, like, I am telling you to do this, that's why you do this. Questions should be asked. Why am I doing this? What is the application of this? Then begins your journey, actual journey. You know? So, what happens is that in your mind, you're not trying to be like anyone. You're not trying to be like your teacher. You're not trying to be like an idol. You're just being yourself. You're being original. And that's what's required for the upliftment of martial arts or any art form for that matter as a whole. We need more and more original people. We don't want people who are saying that I did this because I saw this. No. In fact, honestly speaking, my music inspires my martial arts more than martial arts movements.
That's interesting.
And my martial arts inspires my music more than musical movements. That's reality.
Let's move on to something a little lighter. Who was your role model growing up?
Ah, who were my role models? And this is like not just one person. Actually, like it's like a lot of people, honestly speaking. So let's begin with the person that I used to see every day when I used to wake up as a child. There was this huge, like black and white photograph of Rabindranath Tagore.
Mm-hmm.
So I used to look at him and I used to think that, like, why is his photograph everywhere? I see him almost everywhere. As I started growing up, I realized that he was an interdisciplinary artist.
Okay.
How I'll tell you. So Rabindranath Tagore was responsible for getting serious Japanese martial arts to India.
Is that right?
Yes. Let's listen to this trivia. So the trivia is, if you go to Calcutta Judo Club even today, on this date, you would find the picture of Jigoro Kano, you'd find the picture of Morei Ueshiba, and you'd find the picture of Rabindranath Tagore. Why? Because Bishwaharati had a jiu-jitsu department back in the days. And as like 1913, around that time, there's a song, right? Shankochero Bihu Bolota. That song was written to inspire women to take up self-defense. And since Indian women used to wear saris, that's why jiu-jitsu, the gentle art of jiu-jitsu, not karate, because in karate you would punch and kick and all that. How can you kick wearing a sari? It's like
be quite
next
tough,
to impossible. And yes, you can kick, but those are low kicks, very Kyokushin like low kicks maybe. but what's interesting is that we as Bengalis, we are a warrior tribe. But look at how we portray ourselves. Look at how we portray ourselves. We portray ourselves like a clerk tribe. See? It's very important. It's very, very important that we are aware about our roots. Any group of people who worship a goddess like Ma Kali, or who believe in the Kali sect and stuff like that, they have seen violence. They have experienced violence. They have understood the different layers of violence and peace. If you understand violence, you have to understand peace, because they go hand in hand, honestly speaking. That's why during the War of Independence, most number of extremists were from Bengal and Punjab. Think about it. But now look at us. No. No, this is very important. This is very important for me, because for me, it's very important where I come from. And it's very important that I understand where I come from. it's important to embrace a third culture and also understand where I am coming from. Where do I stand? Rabindranath Tagore is not just someone who gave us great poetry, great songs. He's also someone who encouraged us to take up the physicality, to understand this. He's one of the first pioneers of actually doing what everyone is doing right now: women's self defense, women's self defense, women's self defense. Understand the word self defense has got nothing to do with martial arts. Understand that once and for all. Learning a particular martial art doesn't mean that you can defend yourself. A martial art is a traditional art form that you learn to train your body. A self defense training or techniques associated with self defense are situational. Only people who have faced situations can train you. Say, when I teach people from security organizations, the kind of training that I give them is very different from the training that I give to actors. And even that is very different from this training that I give to normal people who train under me. Because I know that in front of the camera, you have to look good. You have to do things in such a way that every movement makes sense. Every movement is connected. There is a kind of a flow, artistic flow. For security personnel, their movement might not look good at all. They have to get the job done effectively without getting injured and go at it even after getting injured. So we also train about, say you get injured, how do you fight then? How do you fight with just 5% of your energy or 20% of your energy? We speak about these things. We have actual lectures and we actually demonstrate and we show all this kind of stuff. Okay, why I'm saying all these things? You said that who was the person that really, Rabindranath Tagore. And then the other person that I looked at as I was growing up. Now, you see, these people that I looked up at are people that you have also looked at. But look at the way I looked at them. Okay, Kazi Nazrul Islam, again. I realized that here was a man, when he writes, there's so much of ferocity in his writing. Think about it. He has an army background, he has served, right? And he is an artist also. So, this entire amalgamation of having a background in a kind of physicality and meeting that up with your art will only yield a greater understanding of life. Netaji Subhash Chandra Bose, Chhatrapati Shivaji Maharaj, great artists too, not just fighters, great artists. So, herein comes my main point. As early men, the same man used to hunt, fish, fight, dance, sing, make love, have a family. What's wrong with being an early man? Nothing wrong, right? What's wrong in rediscovering your roots? We're all meant to function like this. We're all meant to do all these things together. It's kind of not right not to do it altogether, according to me. Of course, this is a
It's
personal
a
opinion,
yeah opinion.
absolutely personal opinion. And I feel that all of us have this in us because we are built in that way. Around the world, every culture, every culture, there is a fighting form. Every culture, there's a dancing form. Every culture, there's a singing form. Every culture has its own forms. Doesn't matter which part of the world you belong to, you will need to know three things: how to create, how to preserve, and how to destroy. If you don't know these three things, then your life is incomplete.
Raghu, you named such wonderful warrior clan people for the people you see as role models. But come on, when it comes to music, you must have somebody that you look up to.
Of course, I mean, there are so many, there are dozens of
Name
people.
one.
Uh, there's so many. It gets really difficult.
Yeah, let's make it difficult. Come on, name one.
Okay, so let's begin. From my teachers, I think my first teacher, my first teacher was someone who I really look up to, Pandit Vijay Jog. So, I mean, for me, like, I still remember as a kid, I used to, like, we were neighbors, so I used to listen to him playing every day, every evening, every night. And then I had gone up to my mom, and it took me almost 2 3 months to actually muster the courage to actually go up to my mom and say that I really like what happens over there. Can I, like, like, I
What did he play?
the violin.
The violin.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Pandit Vijay Jok played the violin.
Hmm.
So yeah, so for me that was a very interesting, like, that was a turning point. And then I was, uh Guruji passed away. He was not there with us after, like, I started taking lessons from him, and then maybe within 1.5 2 years he was not there. But then after that, I have had the good fortune of having great teachers, all of whom I look up to. And if you speak of very interesting people who inspire me musically, who are non singers, just instrument players, then the number one person that I'd speak of is Victor Wooten, the bass player. Interestingly, if you read his book, The Music Lesson, over there, you see how he is using insightful philosophies from martial art, from tracking, from camping, from survival, and fusing it with music. In fact, I remember doing two of his workshops myself. And he has this beautiful way of calling you up on stage and saying, just feel the music, play all the wrong notes, no problem. Just remember, on either side of the wrong note, there's a right note. On either side of the wrong note, there's a right note. Just remember that and keep playing, keep playing. Feel the groove, feel the music. So his entire way of imparting education, imparting musical education, was so inspiring. My God, I mean, it was like amazing. Then there is Guitar Prasanna. My God, such a beautiful guitar player.
A little birdie told me that you're a fantastic guitar player yourself. So, what do you say? Can we hit the right notes today? The wrong ones don't matter either. You could just go crazy. I think we have a guitar right there.
Yeah, of
Exactly.
course, of course, of
Let's
course.
let's
Why
hear
not?
something from you.
Absolutely, why
Okay?
not?
Can we
Definitely.
can we
Yeah.
can we set that up? Wow. Actions speak louder than words. I am out of words. I don't know what else to say. Lovely, lovely having you
Thank you.
over,
Thank
Raghu,
you.
and thank you for humoring us, for giving us such a lovely, lovely time. And I hope you are going to enjoy this episode because we definitely enjoyed making this for you. So stay tuned for the next episode of NMN Podcast. And once again, Raghu, thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Stay tuned.